CeCe Winans and Kirk Franklin are two of the most respected names in gospel music. For years, people have looked at them as an example of what faith, hope, and music can do when they come together. Their voices, their styles, and their messages touched millions of lives around the world. Whenever their names were mentioned, people thought of inspiration, strength, and unity. Fans always admired their connection and the way they supported each other's journeys. Many saw them as a powerful duo who brought something unique and unforgettable to gospel music. CeCe's soulful voice and Kirk's energetic creativity made their work stand out in a way that felt timeless. To the outside world, their relationship seemed perfect, almost unshakable. But sometimes, behind the bright smiles and public image, there are hidden struggles that no one talks about. The same was true for CeCe and Kirk. While people only saw their unity, the reality behind the scenes was much more complicated. Rumors had been circling in the industry for a long time, hinting that things were not as smooth as they appeared. Still, both of them chose to remain silent, never giving away the truth. Now that silence has finally been broken. For the first time, CeCe herself has spoken out, revealing what many feared to be true. Her words are not just surprising, they are powerful enough to shake the foundation of how people have always viewed their bond. In every industry, no matter how spiritual or positive it may seem on the outside, there are always pressures, rivalries, and silent struggles. The gospel music world is no different. While the audience sees uplifting songs, powerful worship, and messages of faith, behind the curtain things can often be very different. For years, whispers started to spread that not everything was perfect between CeCe Winans and Kirk Franklin. At first, many ignored these rumors, believing they were just baseless gossip. After all, both of them stood for faith and unity, so it was hard for fans to imagine anything less than love and respect between them. But inside the industry, there were signs that pointed toward tension. CeCe, known for her calm spirit and humble personality, chose to remain quiet whenever such issues surfaced. She never entertained negativity, always preferring to carry herself with dignity. But silence doesn't always mean peace. Over time, she carried the weight of certain disappointments and personal experiences that people around her never truly saw. Kirk, on the other hand, had a strong personality that was admired by many, but also questioned by some. His drive for success, his leadership in the gospel scene, and his unique way of doing things sometimes clashed with others who valued humility above all. CeCe, though she respected him deeply, could not ignore the things she saw and felt. What the world believed was a flawless partnership was, in reality, layered with struggles that no one dared to talk about publicly. Fans continued to celebrate their music, but CeCe held on to truths she felt the world wasn't ready to hear until now. Every person has a limit to how long they can stay silent, and for CeCe Winans, that moment eventually arrived. After carrying the weight of unspoken truths for so long, she reached a point where silence felt heavier than honesty. What had once been quiet tolerance turned into a pressing need to finally speak out. It happened during a conversation where CeCe was asked about her journey and the challenges she faced in the gospel industry. Instead of giving the usual safe and polite answers, this time her voice carried a different tone. There was a pause, a deep breath, and then words that no one expected. CeCe began to open up about the experiences that had troubled her for years. She didn't speak with anger, but with a calmness that made her words even more powerful. She hinted that Kirk Franklin's actions had left her feeling hurt and disheartened. There were times when his behavior had crossed lines she thought would never be crossed in their bond. CeCe revealed that behind the smiles and collaborations, there were moments that tested her faith in their friendship and in the unity of gospel music itself. The very thing people had always feared, the idea that something was wrong between these two legends, was finally confirmed. It was no longer rumor, no longer speculation. CeCe's honesty became the breaking point that changed how people saw not only her relationship with Kirk, but also the hidden side of the industry they both helped to shape. When CeCe Winans finally chose to open her heart, her words carried a weight that could not be ignored. She revealed that one of the biggest struggles she faced was not with the industry itself, but with Kirk Franklin's attitude over the years. According to her, the humility and grace that should have always been at the center of gospel music were slowly being overshadowed by ego and pride. CeCe explained that it wasn't about single incident, but a pattern she had quietly observed. The drive for recognition, the need for control, and the unwillingness to listen to others began to affect the bond they once shared. For someone like CeCe, who has always valued faith, respect, and unity above everything else, this shift was painful to watch. She admitted that many times she wanted to protect his image and remain silent, but her conscience wouldn't let her anymore. She said that the truth had to come out, not as a way of attacking Kirk Franklin, but as a warning to the entire gospel community. Her words were clear: when ego overshadows faith, the very heart of the message is lost. This was not just a personal revelation, it was a wake-up call. Fans who always saw Kirk Franklin as a symbol of passion and creativity were shocked to hear that his actions had also caused hurt to someone as respected as CeCe. It made people realize that behind the stage lights and applause, even gospel legends have struggles that the public never sees. For CeCe, this was not about bitterness, it was about honesty. She wanted people to understand that even those who sing about faith must also live by it. And in that moment, her revelation shook not just Kirk's image, but the entire foundation of how people viewed gospel unity. The moment CeCe Winans' words reached the public, shockwaves spread through the gospel community and beyond. Fans who had always seen her and Kirk Franklin as an unshakable pair found themselves struggling to process the truth. Social media lit up almost instantly. Some people expressed disbelief, refusing to accept that there could be any cracks in the image of two legends they admired so deeply. Others, however, praised CeCe for finally speaking out and showing that even those in the spotlight face real struggles. The reaction was divided. Many stood firmly with CeCe, applauding her courage to break her silence and share her heart. They believed her honesty reflected true strength and integrity. They argued that her words weren't meant to destroy anyone's reputation, but to shed light on issues that needed to be addressed in the gospel world. On the other hand, some rushed to Kirk Franklin's defense. They felt he had been misunderstood, that his passion and strong personality were being taken the wrong way. Loyal supporters pointed out all the good Kirk had done, insisting that one person's perspective shouldn't erase his contributions to gospel music. For CeCe Winans, speaking out was not an easy decision. She is someone who has built her entire life and career on grace, humility, and spreading messages of faith. To break her silence meant opening herself up to judgment, criticism, and misunderstanding. But she explained that carrying the weight of silence had become heavier than the pain of telling the truth. She admitted that for years, she tried to protect everyone around her. She kept her feelings locked away because she didn't want to cause division or appear as though she was tearing someone down. But deep inside, that silence was slowly affecting her spirit. She felt the burden of holding back, knowing that what she was experiencing did not match the image the world believed. When she finally spoke, her emotions were raw. She shared that it was not anger that drove her words, but a deep sense of responsibility. She could no longer stand by quietly, while things that went against the heart of faith and humility continued. Her decision was not about exposing Kirk Franklin as a person, but about reminding everyone, including herself, that truth and integrity must come first. CeCe also confessed that she prayed for strength before choosing to speak. For her, this was a spiritual step as much as it was an emotional one. She wanted her honesty to be seen not as bitterness, but as courage, a way of showing that even in faith communities, struggles should not be ignored or hidden. The emotional toll was clear. Her voice carried both pain and relief, pain for what she had gone through, and relief that she no longer had to carry the silence alone. And in that moment, fans realized that behind her calm and graceful presence was a woman who had endured more than most people ever knew. When he finally addressed the matter, his words were careful and measured. Kirk did not deny CeCe's feelings, but he also did not fully accept the criticism. Instead, he spoke about misunderstandings and how relationships, even among close friends, can sometimes go through difficult seasons. He explained that passion and strong leadership can often be mistaken for arrogance, and that his intentions had never been to hurt anyone. However, many noticed that Kirk's response seemed distant. Rather than directly speaking to CeCe's pain, his words felt more like a general statement. To some fans, it sounded as though he was protecting his image instead of truly addressing what CeCe had revealed. This left the public divided once.